And we are live with On the Movies. I told you we'd be back this week. We didn't get back on Wednesday, but Thursday's close enough.
Thursday is close enough. I'm glad that we were able to.
It's very close. It's very close to Wednesday. I'm Jake.
And I am Adam.
And every week we pick a different, every week. We're back 2 weeks now. Every week we pick a different movie and we watch the movie and then discuss a few questions that we've come up with about the film. And then we give a little bit of a recommendation. We do ask that you would watch the movie because we do give out some spoilers. I like to give out spoilers. You don't like to give out spoilers. But we ask that you watch the movie ahead of time.
Yes. You like to give out spoilers?
I do because I want to talk about the whole. To me, it's less reviewing. It's less of like reviewing the movie. It's more critiquing the movie.
Right. I agree. I agree with you.
You're more of a reviewer. I'm more of a critiquer.
Okay.
I don't know because you don't like to give out the ending.
That's true. That's true. And I hate to say this to people, but sometimes there's a reason we don't give out the ending. Shh.
Oh.
In case it's been a little while since we watched the movie.
Yeah. Well, this is pretty fresh because I'm going to hit the timer right now.
Okay.
This is pretty fresh because I watched it last night. You probably watched it back in 2013 when the movie Her came out, which is our film. It released in 2013, directed and written by Spike Jonze, starring, let's say, Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
I think it's kind of both. You could maybe claim, but you probably, I don't know last time you've seen it. But do you have a little synopsis on it?
I do. Actually, I watched it the night before last. I rewatched it.
So I apologize.
That's okay. Typically, sometimes I don't, but I do like the movie Her. And Her is it takes place in the near future, where a lonely writer develops an unlikely relationship with an operating system designed to meet his every need, who is voiced by Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson.
Which is a weird tidbit before we began. Samantha Mathis or Mombus, one of the two, I can't remember her last name. She recorded the entire dialogue as Samantha, and then the movie was done, and then Spike Jonze went back and thought it didn't work and re-recorded with Scarlett Johansson.
Oh.
So when Joaquin Phoenix is acting, he's acting and listening, I think, to the voice of someone different than Scarlett Johansson, which I found pretty interesting.
All right. Well, all right. So first thing, what's initial reaction after the movie's over? I will take that first. Had you seen it before?
I'd seen it before, yeah.
I'd never seen it before. It was always on my list, but I'd never seen it before. Initial reaction, didn't like it.
Really?
Did not like it.
Wow, okay.
I thought it was painstakingly long.
Okay.
I thought it was painstakingly quiet. And I felt satisfied at the end. Like, it wasn't one of those where I was like pissed that it was over.
Right.
But I was like, it wasn't what the hype was, in my opinion, because there was so much hype going into this movie. And I remember just like everyone saying that, oh, it's a masterpiece, like it's a visual masterpiece. Okay, yes, it was visually, okay. I'll say it was really well done, but I didn't like it.
Okay.
Just didn't like it. No.
So you didn't like it. So out of 4 stars, how many would you give it?
2.
Okay.
2. It was really pretty. They did all the elements correct. It just was like I felt like I was just being dragged.
Okay.
Through the whole movie. Yes.
So
what about you?
That surprises me, but I'm glad it was a movie that we differ on because we've not had that many movies that we differ on. I agree with you that it's long.
Yeah.
And it's a long movie that you can tell is long. It feels long.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest qualm about it. As far as other than Joaquin Phoenix's mustache, I didn't care for the mustache.
I didn't mind the mustache. I thought it was.
I guess the reason I don't is I'm not really big into mustaches now.
No.
Since some things went on.
Oh yeah.
But other than that, because it's not at the same time.
Towards mustaches.
mustaches. Um, I gotta be honest, I enjoyed it when I first saw it. Now, it wasn't as good. I don't want to say good, the word. I didn't enjoy it as much the second time. I felt how long it was this second time more so. Well, actually, this is the third time I've watched it, but the second recently, because I watched it about, not recent, but about a year ago, and then I watched it the day before yesterday. It left me sad.
Yeah.
It left me sad. I find it, I don't know, I like the elements as far as like the set. I like, it was set in a futuristic, but it was set in like a realistic
Yeah, it was
future.
like, it almost felt like, I was thinking about that. I was like, are these people alive now?
Right,
That's what I was thinking. Are they babies?
right.
Maybe.
And I do agree with you. It's a very, very quiet movie. And if you don't listen when Joaquin Phoenix is talking some of the time, it could seem like he mumbles some.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
my first reaction after seeing it, I did enjoy it, but I was left a little saddened.
Okay. All right. Um, that was a good segment. All right. So
Some
this one
people are
movie
asking me what movie. So we're watching the movie Her,
her.
is what we're watching. And Lily Williams, thank you for allowing us to be part of the King Network TV family. He said, hope
Hi.
all is well from the family. So that's very cool.
Let's go. All right. So the second question: what's one thing you think you would change about the movie? You take this one first.
I would change. There's a part where Joaquin Phoenix he calls up like maybe like a sex hotline.
Oh yeah, towards the beginning.
Yeah, near the beginning. It's like 10 or 15 minutes in. I understand what they were trying to do, and I was in the theater with a couple of other people, and they did laugh at the scene. And I see the comedic nature, but that scene just made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I didn't care for it. But it also was foreshadowing a scene that happens later in the movie. So
Yeah.
I guess it is necessary. But if it were up to me, I would come up with a different way. And as always, shorten the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. It definitely felt like a setup. I knew they were setting up something, and then they paid it off later with what's her name? Samantha.
Samantha, yeah.
So, what would I do differently? Yeah. So here's where I kind of going back and forth. My initial thought, I was thinking about this going into this, and I'm like, I would shorten it. Definitely shorten it because there's too much dead air.
Hey, Aaron.
But I think for this movie to work, you have to have dead air because it's such a dead air movie.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important. So I think by shortening it, I wouldn't want to I want to keep the pacing same. Just kind of chop out some scenes that just kind of are like, just get rid of that scene.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't pick up the speed of the movie. What it would do is it would just shorten it.
Yeah.
So that's where I was like going back and forth. I was like, but do I really, when I edit stuff out, now I don't think I would edit scenes.
Right.
I don't think I would edit within scenes. I think I would just take giant chunks out of the movie and do it that way.
I would take out some of the vulgarity too, with that little game that he plays where he's like walking with the game, that little thing. It's funny that it cusses a lot and it cusses him out. Was it really necessary? I don't know. Maybe it was. I think it still would have been a decent scene had that been cut out. Not that big of an issue, but it could have. Little scenes like that could have helped perhaps tone down the rating. It's a rated R movie. But there's some scenes later on in the movie that would probably make it be rated R anyway.
Yeah, you would have to make a lot of adjustments to make it not rated R. Especially the scene that we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That scene I thought was a bit, well, here's the thing. All right, so here's what I didn't understand about this movie going into it is it was playing on the difference between, or it was playing on this he needs the emotional side of the relationship, which is what he struggles with, but in his mind he kind of feels like he wants the sexual side of the relationship. And that's where I feel like that's what I was not ready for. I didn't realize that that's kind of where they were going. Not that it really shocked me that much,
right?
but I just didn't know there was going to be that much focus on that. And that's where I was like, I really like, I don't know. I think they could have, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for the movie, the way and then, so another thing that I kind of like, spoiler, okay,
Spoiler alert! Spoiler
I don't
alert!
want to say spoiler, but it's like in the first 10 minutes, you know, who he's going to end up with.
Yeah.
And the reason why you know that is because you have a named actress and a nobody with each other, and he gets along with them really well.
Yeah.
This was 7 years ago. So I'm like, I guarantee you, if they paid this person this much money, he's going to end up with them.
Yeah.
And you don't really do it in a way that's like, you know, obviously at the end, it's almost like we're in this together kind of thing, rather than like we're not getting married.
Right.
But
I can see that.
I liked that part of it, but I just didn't. But it was just, I was like, okay. I think that's the hard part is 5 minutes in, no, well, not 5 minutes, but whatever, 15 minutes into it, I knew exactly where I was going.
You kind of know, right.
And I was just waiting for it to get there.
Yeah.
So that would be something that I would change too, is I would try to figure out a way to mask that, so that the audience didn't know where it was going.
Right. So it wasn't so like right there on the nose where you know exactly where it's going.
How did you feel about the main character whose name was Theodore?
Theodore, I forget, he has a weird last name.
Yeah, it's not on the IMDb account.
It's something that sounds like a made-up name.
Yeah. I'll look it up while you answer. Right. What did you feel about his arc in the film? I
mean, I really felt that he, I don't know now thinking back that there's an arc that I think that he's going for. Does he come to resolve at the end of the movie and change his ways? I don't think that he does. You know, maybe he does. Maybe he does. He does more so than to begin with, because he's kind of a closed off because he's been hurt, you know, and you can tell from because I think the movie opens up with him reading those greeting cards that he writes.
Is that where they were?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, I feel that his arc was unfulfilled. I thought that they could have went a little bit further with his arc, and he seemed, I don't know, it left me feeling sad for him. Because he put it seems like he put most of his eggs in one basket of the operating system.
Yeah.
And we saw how that turns out. So but also, you know, I think he's come to learn a lot about himself, because when he first starts up the operating system and they're like, they starts asking him questions, they're like, it says, "Tell me about your mother," and then he hesitates for a second, and then he starts saying something about his mother, and then they're like, "Okay, that's all we need to know." So right there, at the very beginning, you realize he's had trouble not only with women throughout his life, but I got that he had trouble with not just with the woman in his life, but he's had trouble with women throughout his entire life. He's shy. He doesn't really know how to talk to women, especially after the relationship with the one girl. You know, I can't remember her name, but his ex-girlfriend, and then the disastrous date that ends up happening.
Yeah.
With, Olivia Wilde? I think that's the actress's name.
Oh, what's that? Okay.
So I don't think that I think that his arc was half. I think he had half an arc, and I think it could have been more. But I mean, I think it was true to his character, because not every character grows. And whether Theodore grew or not, I think he did grow, but he didn't grow nearly as much as he probably should have.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, Tracy. A couple people are saying that they want to watch her now because of our talking about it. So
seriously,
yeah,
go check it out. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
I thought his arc. I don't think it was a very big arc. I think he changed. Yeah, because it's like he's got this really good dialogue with Amy, who's played by Amy Adams.
Yep.
He's got this really good really fun, good dialogue with her at the beginning. And he's got it at the end.
But in the middle, it kind of vanishes in a way, doesn't it?
Kind of vanishes, but it's like if you take the beginning and take the end and look at the difference between the two, he's disclosed a lot about himself to her early on, and he disclosed a lot about himself to her at the end. So did he change that much? All right. So here's where you can kind of say that he did change is that he was putting a lot of he was relying a lot on, I don't know.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, because
it's a tough arc because he did change, but did he change? Like if you saw him and you met him or were hanging out with him, would you know that he had changed? Like if you went a long period of time, would you be like, oh wow, he's a completely different person, he's changed? Or is he the same kind of a sad sack that he was before?
Except now he doesn't like, he knows that it's not about his OS. It's about real people.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it's about real people. He's afraid to get hurt by people at the beginning, and then at the end, but it's still people.
Yeah.
That is one issue that I do have with Spike Jonze. I've only seen 2 of his movies now.
What, Malkovich and then this one?
No, I saw Where the Wild Things Are.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And again, I thought it was visually stunning. I liked the characters a lot, but at the same time, I don't feel like anything happened in the movie. By the end of the movie, I'm like, I feel like we went on a journey and we ended up back where we started from.
A journey of nothing, not even a journey of self-discovery, just a journey like around the backyard.
Yeah, we just did a circle. Like I had such high expectations for Where the Wild Things Are, and I loved the characters, but they didn't do anything. And that's where I got really, really, really frustrated. But anyway, let's move on because we don't want to spend all of our time on that. All right, so secondary characters. Did I take this one first or you take this one first?
This one is yours.
Okay. First of all, I'm looking at the
I'm going to look at the IMDb while we're talking.
All right, so Kristen Wiig does the voice of Sexy Kitten in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
Bill Hader plays a chat room friend. Chris Pratt came out of nowhere. Chris Pratt I don't think he was Chris Pratt when he did this movie. Rooney Mara? Is that how you say
she's the ex.
I didn't even realize that was Olivia Wilde in the film. So I was like, dang, there's like so many different people here. I think I kind of appreciate it. It's hard for me to not like Chris Pratt because to me, he's just a stand-up actor, human being. And
yeah, he does seem like a stand-up guy and a good actor too.
His character was so welcoming, and I really did appreciate that because I think that's just kind of how he is as a person. But I thought he did that really well in this film, especially when they go double dating.
Yeah,
they're just so open to it. They're like, he's like, it's an OS, and Chris Pratt's like, okay, let's go.
And no one bats an eye about it. They're not even like, ooh, this is weird, or ugh. They're just like, okay, bring her along, bring him.
And it's like, all right, cool, let's go. And I was like, that's really, really, really cool. So yeah. I would give it. I think it's Chris Pratt to me. Is kind of my favorite.
I want to go, and this might be an obvious answer. I like Scarlett Johansson's voice.
Really?
Does that count?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think we can say that Joaquin Phoenix was the protagonist.
Yeah, some people don't like her voice. You don't like her voice?
No. I say really as in like, I completely agree with you.
Okay. I thought she was the anchor of the movie.
Yeah.
And I could see, I can't remember the exact actress's name, and I'm sure she's a fine actress. I've seen her in other things. But her voice, I don't know it right off, but Scarlett Johansson, something about her voice is inviting, it's intellectual. I think it makes the OS system very realistic, even if it's having a relationship with this, is what it is. It's having a relationship with your phone, with the operating system. But somehow she was able to make Samantha real, to me anyway, and made it plausible that he would want to go out on this date with her. Plus, look how quickly she's learning. One of the first things, he says, how did you come up with that name? And she's like, her name. She said, well, I went through all the names. She names how many names there are, 3 billion names or whatever. And she said, I like the way Samantha sounded. And she did it in half a second.
Yeah.
So obviously it's a movie, but within the constraints of the movie, I thought she was the anchor, and I thought that she was the reason that I felt sad for Theodore because of her decision.
Samantha Morton.
Samantha Morton. Yep. Okay.
The actress, which I'm trying to place her, but I haven't been able to place her yet. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. I think that really, to me, she was the only reason why I wanted to keep going on this film, because she's just so likable and
very likable.
Just her voice. So,
sweet.
Yeah.
Very likable.
I can't think of any other actresses that I think would have been better, which that rarely happens. Rarely are you like, oh, nobody else could play this role. But I'm sure there's other people out there where you could be like, oh yeah, that would work.
Especially with the voice.
But hers was just perfect. Yeah, she has a great voice. Because she has this voice that kind of sounds like your best friend, but also it sounds like it could be a love interest too.
Yeah.
So weird.
She does a really good job. I think she was the best. I think she's the best one in the movie, and she's technically not even in the movie.
Yeah, she never shows up in the movie. She only showed up after the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about music? We'll just hit this one real fast.
To be honest with you, thinking about the music, I honestly can't think of any of the music right now. I'm sure there was some since it's a Spike Jonze movie, but sitting here right now, I can't think of any. So I would say, I'm sure there's some sad, morose music.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't think it played a big part from my memory anyway. What about yourself?
I noticed it a few times in the film. I think it was good. It was, maybe it would be a soundtrack that I might use to write, because it's a lot of those long tones.
Yeah, very low key from what I can recall.
Yeah, but I think it was the music was long and airy, just like the film.
So it fit like a glove.
But I think it was well scored.
Okay.
Favorite scene or scene that just kind of stands out to you? I'll take that one first. This was a difficult one just because some scenes felt like they didn't go anywhere. Other scenes, like the one that we were talking about earlier, went many places.
Yes.
Like when he does the date, and then when he does the phone sex scene, and then when the girl comes over that doesn't talk, which that scene kind of weirded me out a little bit.
Yeah, that was weird.
She didn't talk. It was just kind of weird until afterwards. But I really, I liked the ending scene. I liked the last scene of the movie. I think it had a really good pacing to it. I think it was really quiet. It was visually stunning. And then that last little gesture, I won't spoil it, but that last little gesture right before we faded to black, I thought was that's sweet.
Yeah.
I was upset that the whole movie at the end, I was like, oh, that's sweet.
Right.
But I really did. I think that was I hated the scene with the divorce papers. Yeah, because I was thinking that scene, but then that scene took such a turn, and you knew it was going to take a turn.
Yeah.
But I think the last scene was, which sounds like a cop-out, but I think it was just a well-done show, don't tell scene.
Right. I like the scene. If I had, and this is not really an important, I guess it's important in a way. It's a series of scenes, I guess. And it's near the beginning of the movie when Theodore, when he first leaves his job and he's in the elevator, and then he's got his operating system, he plugs it in, and you can hear all the things that are on there. They're like, here's 25% off Best Buy, and he's delete. And then he says, play some sad music. Then they play sad music. Another sad song. So they'll play another sad song. So it's kind of setting up that it's this future but it's just like we were talking about earlier. How much in the future is this? And if you notice their fashion, he has on kind of high-waisted pants a little bit. I found that a little bit, a little bit interesting. And he leads into, I found his interaction with his neighbors pretty interesting. Like Amy Adams and the other guy.
The other guy.
When they're doing when they're talking about the documentary.
Oh yeah.
And I found that pretty revealing about his friendships. And then one line that Amy Adams says, he says something about Joaquin Phoenix says something, or Theodore says something about what he's going to do in the afternoon. And Theodore says, or Amy Adams says, that would be funny if that weren't so true.
Yeah. Oh, because he said he was gonna look up porn and play video games.
Play that game, and just from saying that's what he's going to do, because in the previous scene, he had been talking to that lady and had been playing that little video game. Yep. So I thought that was a nice little.
Yeah.
I mean, not one particular scene, but it kind of foreshadowed that this is his life. He goes to work, he looks up the porn, and then he plays his game. Yeah. So not really a scene, I guess, but a series of little scenes that kind of show his life. I found that kind of cool.
Yeah. Final thoughts. I want to hear your final thoughts first, and then I'll wrap up.
My final thoughts. I did have a big poster of the movie Her. So every time that I would go into my room, it would be Joaquin Phoenix's face looking.
With the mustache.
Yeah, with the mustache. So I liked it enough at the time to have that poster up.
Yeah.
Now that's been a couple of years ago. Shelley and I went to see that when it came out in the movie theater, and that was a movie that I was actually looking forward to seeing. I wasn't disappointed at the time, and I wouldn't say that I'm disappointed now, but I do agree with you. It's a different kind of, quote, romance movie, and I don't think it's for the mass audience. I don't.
Yeah.
Now Hannah suggested that this past weekend. She said that's a movie that she enjoys. So I like to try to incorporate some outside people, but I'm really surprised that in a way that you didn't care for it. But I would have to say, for me personally, it's not for everyone. But if you read the back of the DVD or read the synopsis and you're interested, give it a shot, and you might like it, and you might want to turn it off after the first act. So to each of their own. What about yourself?
So it was made for $23 million, and worldwide it made 48. So it paid for itself.
It was a modest success, I guess.
Yeah. I doubt I'll watch it again. I think the poster, I think the visuals were stunning. I think that part was really well done. To me, that's one issue I think that I have now with Spike Jonze, is that he's good at characters and he's good at visualization, but the story I haven't seen a movie that's been super strong when it comes to story.
He lacks in his storytelling ability there.
Yeah. So would I recommend it to people? It just depends. It really does depend. I didn't hate it, and I don't there's some movies where afterwards I'm like, I can't believe I just wasted 2 hours.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I wasted 2 hours. I just feel like
that Ben Affleck movie.
Oh, that was a waste of life.
Yeah.
waste of life. No, it was definitely different than that. Not that level, but I appreciated it as a filmmaker, and I appreciated it visually, but yeah, I would say at least I know, because all that time I was like, I gotta watch this, and now I'm like, I've watched it, so
right.
I like that off. But I do really, really, really like the poster. I think it's a really cool poster with his blue eyes and then the red, red background and his red shirt.
It's the exact same as.
I like to see that you're wearing socks with your flip-flops too.
Well, the reason being that, and I'll tell you the reason. Well, I'll tell you off air. But there's the.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but it was, it was what it was, and I don't.
You're going to let each person decide whether or not they want to go down that road or not.
Yeah, really. Yep, check it out. I mean, Yeah, just check it out.
Sounds good.
Let me do we want to do a movie for next week, or do we want to do that off air?
We can do it all there, but do you have any in mind?
Not a one.
Okay, well,
I don't ever think about it. You're like the movie buff. I feel like I host the show, you come up with the movies. That should just be our play from now on.
So I've got one of two movies, and they're both kind of light. I don't know if you want to do either one. If not, that's fine too.
You do whatever.
We have the Ben Stiller, Jenna Elfman, Edward Norton movie called Keeping the Faith.
Okay.
It's a little long, but I haven't seen it in a while, but it's a pretty good romantic comedy. Or another David O. Russell movie called I Heart Huckabees.
You pick it.
So, okay.
It's fine with me. I don't care.
All right. I'm going to
just don't
put it
want to
behind
do
my
another
back.
sinister movie.
And then you pick right hand or left hand?
Left hand.
Left hand? Keeping the Faith.
Keeping the Faith. All right. So next week we'll be back with Keeping
the Faith.
That's not the David O. Russell, is it?
No, that's I Heart Huckabees, which I Heart Huckabees, listen to the cast really quick. We've got Dustin Hoffman, Jude Law, Jason Schwartzman, Lily Tomlin, Mark Wahlberg, and Naomi Watts is in the cast of I Heart Huckabees.
All right. Well, maybe we'll put that on the list for future.
And if you look up I Heart Huckabees, I think David O. Russell tears something up on that set too. I might be wrong, but I think he does.
Russell. It just cracks me up every time I hear that. You still haven't watched that bit yet either.
No, I need to. I did run across it the other day and I saved it, but I haven't watched it yet though.
All right. Well, let's wrap this mess up. All right. So let's get out of here. So next week we'll be back with Keeping the Faith. Hopefully Wednesday, but maybe Thursday. We'll see.
All righty.
But cool. Well, that's going to do it for today's movie, which was Her by Spike Jonze. We'll be back next week. And for On the Movies, I'm Jake.
I'm Adam.
And we will see you next week.
All right. Adios, everyone.